Hello, Sergio.
Hello, Stefan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I think this is our first class together.
I think so. Um,
Oh,
it's nice to meet you.
nice to meet you too.
So, where are you from?
I'm from Brazil. I live in Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, wonderful. Cool. Very
Where are
cool.
you from?
I am from the United States, from Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
Yeah. But I am currently living in the Czech Republic in Europe. So,
Wow. Mm.
yeah. Well,
How are the
welcome.
temperature about
What's that?
Czech Republic? What's the temperature there?
Pretty nice. Today it's about 40 degrees Fahrenheit,
Mm.
which for me is quite warm in the middle of December.
That sounds good.
Yeah. How about there in Rio?
It's so hot. I think the temperature is around 32, 33 degrees Celsius.
Celsius. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Wow, so quite hot.
yeah, quite.
Wow, well, exciting. Good. Um, and hello, Thayer.
Hi, teacher Stephanie. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you for asking. You hear me, teacher Stephanie, because my connection today, I don't know, is so bad.
It's a little bit quiet, but I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Glad you're here. And Adrian, how are you?
Hi, teacher. I'm fine. And you?
I'm fine, thank you. Um, Welcome to class. And hopefully you were all able to access tonight's or today's lesson um, through the class description. Um, this is one of the trickier grammar points in English, I think. As far as the tenses go, this is a challenging one. Um, so we will get started in just a moment. We should have a few more people joining us. But in the meantime, I will just explain the class a little bit. These are called grammar stories, and I get them from esllibrary.com, which is a website that Verbling provides us access to. So I will warn you that the stories themselves are rather boring. They were written in order to demonstrate the grammar. So they weren't written to be exciting or to make you feel things. They were written to show how the grammar works. And for that, they're good. There are 3 grammar stories, and each story has questions. So we will read the stories and then read the questions. And at the end, there are some questions to help us have a discussion using where you will use the third conditional. So we are 6 minutes in. Everyone should be here, so we will get started. I'd like to start with a quick review of the grammar. So I've pulled up a couple of websites And I will screen share them and also share them in the chat. Oops. Sorry, just a moment. I'm copying and going to paste the first website in the chat. So there's the first website we'll look at. And hello, Shadow.
Yes, hello teacher, hello everybody.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good, good, glad you're here. All right, so let's go ahead and look at, the first website we'll look at is grammar.ccc.comnet, and it explains the first, second, and third conditional. So we will just very quickly talk about the first and second conditional because the main focus is on the third conditional. But just to remind you of what they are. All right, so let me screen share. Okay. So conditional, all three of the conditional forms will have a conditional clause and a main clause. So two parts to the sentence. One that is the main or most important part, and the other that is conditional or that tells about some conditions. So let's go right to first conditional, and I can point out the conditional and main clauses there. First conditional would be this, for example. If I have enough money, I will go to Japan. Okay, so this is a sentence that talks about real situations. It's possible. This is a possible thing that might happen in the future. So if I have enough money, that's the conditional. That may or may not happen. And this is the main clause, what will happen when the condition is met. So if I have enough money, I will go to Japan. In the second conditional, it's talking about something that is not possible. If I had enough money, I would go to Japan. So the main clause, I would go to Japan. And the condition, if I had enough money. So this means I do not have enough money, so I won't go to Japan. But if I had more money, if I had enough money, then I would go to Japan. And then we have the third conditional, which is our focus tonight. And this talks about the past. Okay, so our first conditional talks about the future. The second conditional talks about the present or the future, usually the present. But the third conditional talks about the past. If I had had enough money, I would have gone to Japan. So in the past, I didn't have enough money, so I didn't go to Japan, but I would have if I had had more money. It's a lot of talking. Are there any questions so far? Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. I don't want to spend too much on the first and second conditional, but again, first conditional is something that is possible. The condition is possible. In the second conditional, the condition is impossible or improbable, unlikely, or impossible. And the third condition is unreal, so something that did not happen in the past, some hypothetical or unreal situation in the past. Okay, so we are talking, here's this part I think explains well. So we are talking about a situation that was not so in the past. Another example, if you had warned me, I would not have told your father about that party. This sentence expresses the ideas that you didn't warn me, and so I have told your father about that party. You didn't warn me, and I have told your father. Okay. Pause there. Any questions? Okay. So I'm going to go to another, just one other quick website that gives a good description, and I will paste that address in the chat as well. All right. So that we use the third conditional when there is no possibility, and we're, again, in the past. So while the first and second conditionals talk about the future, the third conditional talks about the past. We talk about a condition in the past that did not happen. That is why there's no possibility for the condition, because it's already happened. Okay. Here's a good way to think of it. The third conditional is also like a dream, but with no possibility of the dream coming true. So for example, let's say that last week you bought a lottery ticket, but you did not win. Okay, so two separate events in the past. We can combine them into a sentence, a third conditional sentence. If I had won the lottery, I would have bought a car. But I didn't win the lottery, so I didn't buy a car. Right? The form for the third conditional is always the past perfect in the conditional clause and have in the past participle for the main clause. So you will see the modal would, our conditional modal would, in the main clause for these types of sentences. All right, so with that, any questions before we go to the grammar stories? Good, okay.
Do we use this conditional to express regrets?
Yes. Often regrets about things we wish we would have done differently. So yeah, I could say if I would have known that I would be sick, I wouldn't have bought tickets to the concert. If I had known I'd be sick, I wouldn't have bought tickets to the concert. So regret about a past action, yes. And we'll probably see yeah, good question. We will see a lot of that in the grammar stories tonight. So in the past, I have done the grammar stories where I read the story so that you can hear the pronunciation. But I wonder, I know sometimes students like to do the reading. There are also questions. So I've done where I read the story and students read and answer the questions. But is there anyone who really wants to read one of the stories for us?
I am. Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, good. I know some people like the extra speaking practice that reading provides. So, psicólogo, Paulo?
Paulo, yes.
Okay, so you can read one of them. Is there anyone else? There are 3 stories. So if anyone else wants to read, they can. All right.
Okay, I can read the next
Wonderful.
one.
Okay. All right, so we'll start with Paulo and then Shadow, and then if someone wants to take the third, they can volunteer at that time. All right, so I'm going to share the stories. I think I attached the lesson to the class description, but I'm also going to try share what I hope is a link for you. Let me know if that works, if you use that. But I'll also screen share.
Yes, I
And
got it.
oh, wonderful. Okay, good. I'm learning a little bit more every day about how to be a better teacher online. It's quite a different experience for me. All right, so the first story is the hurricane. And I'll zoom in, and Paolo, go ahead when you're ready.
The hurricane. Fanny's neighborhood was destroyed by a hurricane. If Fanny had known about the dangers, she would have left the city. If the government had warned the citizens, then many people wouldn't have been trapped in their houses by floodwaters. If the government had listened to the warnings of environmentalists, the city could have taken more precautions. If there had been better planning, the damage wouldn't have been so severe. If Fanny had been warned, she could have gathered emergency supplies of food and water. If the government had provided buses and transportation, then everyone could have evacuated the area.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Very nice. So we see almost every sentence in this story is a third conditional sentence. If is a big trigger. You know you have a conditional when you see the word if. Are there any questions about the vocabulary or the grammar in this part?
I have a question, Stefan.
Yes, Adrian.
You can use would or could too.
Let's see. So, yes, there is a slight difference in meaning. So let's look at this sentence. This sentence uses could, but it could use would as well, and it would mean a little different. So if the government had listened to the warnings of the environmentalists, the city could have taken more precautions. This is putting more emphasis on the ability to be able to take precautions. So the city was not able to take precautions because the government didn't listen to the warnings. If we put would here, it takes a little bit emphasis away from the city's ability. So,
Okay.
if the government had listened to the warnings of environmentalists, the city would have taken more precautions. It's just less telling about the city's ability to take precautions. With could, we know that they had the ability to take precautions, whereas would, we don't know that necessarily. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yes.
Good. Good. Good question. Any other questions?
Yes,
All
I
right,
have
so
about. So
yes.
you hear me? Yeah, I ask about trapped. If I want to change trapped, so what's the fit or proper right word if I want to change trapped in their houses?
Let's see.
Then many people wouldn't have been trapped in their houses by flood water. Yeah.
So if you want to
Why?
choose a,
It is a yeah.
if you want a different word,
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it is a it is good with people?
Yeah, trapped is usually for animals, but in this case, if you can use trapped with people as well when they can't leave a place, when they're stuck in a place against
Okay.
their will, you can say
Hmm.
trapped.
Okay.
Yeah, good
Thanks.
question. Yes, of course, good question. Any other questions? Okay, so let's go to the questions. Of course, the story is not that interesting, but it is good practice for the third conditional. There are 6 questions, and there are 6 of you. So I am going to call on you to answer the question, to first read the question, and then answer the question using the text. So if that's okay with everyone, oh, there's only, it looks like only 5 of you now, so one of you will get to go twice. Thayer, can I start with you?
Of course, teacher, you can.
Wonderful.
Okay. Okay, I read it?
Yes, please.
Okay. If Fanny's had known about the dangers of the hurricane, what would she have done? So, what I have to do now?
Now we'll answer it using the text. So if Fanny had known about the dangers, what would she have done?
She would have left the city.
Excellent. Very good, very good. So Fanny didn't know about the dangers, and then she didn't leave the city, but she would have. Great. Thank you very much. Shadow, you're next.
Okay, what could have prevented people being trapped in their houses?
Good.
If the government had warned the citizen, no. Yeah. If the government had warned the citizen, then many people wouldn't have been trapped in their houses by floodwaters.
Very good. So that's telling us the government didn't warn the citizens. Bad government. If they had warned, it would have prevented the people being trapped. Good. Thank you. And number 3, Sergio.
Okay. If the government had listened to the environmentalists, what could have happened differently?
Good.
Okay. If the government had listened to the warnings of the environmentalists, the city could have taken more precautions.
Good. Yep, excellent. So the government didn't listen, and therefore the city didn't take proper precautions. All right. Number 4, Paulo.
What would have lessened the damage of a hurricane?
Good. So this is a little bit trickier, the answer.
Okay. If the government had been warned all people and citizens, they would have been protect themselves.
Yeah, they would have been able to protect themselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that would have lessened, it would have helped the people. And then this question, let's see, what would have lessened the damage? I think they mean the damage to the houses. So what would have lessened the damage to the houses?
Okay. If there had been better planning, the damage wouldn't have been so severe.
Excellent. Yep. So it would have been lessened. The damage would have been lessened if there had been better planning. Excellent. And number 5, Adrian.
Yeah. Funny could have uh, Gatorade emergency supplies um, if um, if um, if, if Fanny had been warned.
Yep. Yep, exactly. If she had been warned about the hurricane, she could have gathered supplies. Excellent. And number 6, Thayer, will you go again, please?
Okay. What would have allowed everyone to evacuate the area? So I don't know the answer.
Let's see. Yes. So to evacuate is to leave the area, and there's something the government did not do that would have allowed everyone
Okay.
to evacuate.
If the government had provided buses and transportation, then everyone could have evacuated the area.
Excellent. Very nice. Very good.
But teacher, I have a question about, could you, buses or, okay, I'm sorry, I pronounced it wrong. Buses, that mean it is us.
What?
Yeah.
Buses?
Yeah, how could I pronounce this word?
Buses.
Or
Buses.
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 Okay, thanks.
Very
Buses.
good. Very nice. Yeah. So the strange part about this, the third conditional, is that it kind of says the opposite of what really happened. So if the government had provided buses and transportation, everyone could have evacuated. They didn't provide buses, so people weren't evacuated.
Bad government.
Yes, bad government. They were so ill prepared for the hurricane. Very nice job with that first one. So let's go to the second one. And we will be sure to save time at the end for the discussion. I think the discussion is most valuable so that you can maybe use the third conditional in a real conversation. But let's look at one more story. Are there any questions on the grammar before Shadow reads this story to us? All right.
No, I don't have.
Excellent. Okay, sounds like we're ready to move on. So Ryan's crazy class trip. Shadow, go ahead when you're ready.
Okay. Today Ryan woke up late for school. If Ryan had remembered that today was the class trip, he would have arrived on time. If Ryan hadn't been late, his classmates wouldn't have been annoyed at him. If he had remembered they were visiting a farm, he wouldn't have worn his best clothes. If he had known they were going horseback riding, he would have worn his cowboy hat. If Ryan hadn't tried doing cowboy tricks on the horse, he wouldn't have ended up face first in the mud. Also, if he had stayed away from the cows as he was told, he wouldn't have been chased around by an angry herd. After lunch the class went berry-picking. If he had listened to the warning about poisonous berries, Ryan wouldn't have spent the afternoon in the hospital. But if Ryan had behaved himself all day, he wouldn't have had so many funny stories to tell his parents when he got home.
Excellent, very good. So, kind of a funny ending, sort of, for at least for these stories. Very good. So this is all about opportunities that Ryan neglected to take. or choices he made where he did the wrong thing. Nice reading. So let's go on to the questions. And why don't we start this time? We have 8 questions, so a couple more. Let's start. Sergio, can we start with you?
Yes.
All right,
Awesome.
wonderful.
Okay. If Ryan had remembered that today was a class trip, what would he have done?
Oops, sorry. And the answer.
He would have arrived on time.
Excellent, good. And Paolo, the second question.
Why were his classmates annoyed at him? If Ryan hadn't been late, his classmates wouldn't have been annoyed at him.
Very good. Yep, his lateness annoyed his classmates. Excellent. And question 3, Adrian.
If Ryan had remembered they were visiting a farm, what would he have done differently? Mhm. Uh, um, he he wouldn't have worn his best clothes.
Yep, so he forgot they were visiting a farm and he wore his best clothes. Silly, silly Ryan. Good. Question for Thayer.
Yes. Why didn't Ryan wear his cowboy hat? The answer, I don't see it. Okay. Okay, here, I think. If Ryan hadn't tried doing cowboy tricks, no, not this.
Nope, just before that.
Okay.
And this is
If he
the
had,
question is a tricky one. You got the hard one.
okay, no. Okay. If he had known they were going horseback riding, he would have worn his cowboy hat.
Yep,
Okay, that's the answer.
exactly.
Okay,
Yep,
thanks.
so yeah, the format of the question's a little different. So why didn't he wear his cowboy hat? Because he forgot they were, he didn't know they were going horseback riding.
Okay.
Excellent. So yeah, whoever writes these questions, they start with a kind of pattern and then they try to switch it up and trick students just with the pattern of answers. But very nice. And Shadow, number 5, please.
How did Ryan end up face first in the mud? When he was doing cowboy tricks on the horse.
Exactly right. Exactly. He was doing cowboy tricks and fell off somehow. Silly boy. Sergio, number 6.
Okay, number
Sorry,
6.
teacher.
Oh, yes. There.
I have just a question about
Yes.
this cowboy. It is the cowboy boy just in Texas or in another state in United States?
Pretty anywhere in the South or the West. Yeah, you can have cowboys in anywhere in the United States, but usually the southern states or western states, and usually in the past, I suppose. I'm from the north, so my state doesn't have many real cowboys, though there are in farm. Anywhere there's a farm, there might be cowboys.
Okay. Okay, thanks, teacher.
Good question. And then I think Sergio, were we on you for 6?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
6. If Ryan had stayed away from the cows, what wouldn't have occurred?
Good. And
Okay. Also, if he had stayed away from the cows as he was told, he wouldn't have been chased around by an angry herd.
Excellent, and that's our cover picture here. So if he had stayed away, they wouldn't have chased him. Wonderful. And number 7, Paolo. Oh, Paolo's disappeared. Okay, Adrian, will you take number 7, please?
Yeah. How could Ryan have avoided spending the afternoon in the hospital? Well, if he had listened to the warning about poisons barriers.
Exactly. Berries, yep. So he didn't listen, he ate the berries, and he went to the hospital. And finally, question 8. Oh, Paolo's back. Paolo, will you take question 8 for us? I'm sorry you
Okay,
lost your
sorry.
connection.
Okay, what was the one good thing about all the disasters that happened during the class trip?
And this is the bright ending.
But if Ryan had behaved himself all day, he wouldn't have had so many funny stories to tell his parents when he got home.
Excellent. Very nice. So everyone loves a troublemaker. They entertain us. So are there any questions about the third conditional here? I think it's best then. Oh, we only have the 2 stories. Good. Usually there are 3 stories before the questions, but today there's only 2, which is good because I only wanted to do 2. So the next part is questions about you. These are rather formulaic. They are fill in the blank. So I would like each of you to think of something that can fill in the blank. And then after the 7, I have one more question I think can help us generate some in real conversation. So think about number 1. If I had known it was your birthday, I would have blank. And I'll start just to give you some thinking time. If I had known it was your birthday, I would have baked a cake for you.
So what about brought a gift or brought a present to you? Is working?
Perfect. Yep, you can say that. So put that together in the whole sentence.
Okay. I read it?
Yes.
Okay. If I had known it was your birthday, I would have brought a present to you.
Very good. Very nice. Perfect. And Shadow, do you have a answer for that one or a blank?
Okay. If I had known it was your birthday, I would have gone to your party.
Very nice. Yeah, if I had known it was your birthday, I would have gone to your party. I noticed that I've done it more than once this lesson. And it's another way that you'll hear the third conditional. I keep saying, if I would have known it was your birthday, I would have gone to your party. It's the same thing. I think it might be more conversational, while this is the proper written form. But just in case you noticed, I keep using would, have here in the conditional as well. But it means the same. Sergio, do you have some way to finish this sentence?
Okay. If I had known it today was so hotter, I would have brought my best sweet.
Oh, good. Okay, so you're on number 3 here. Excellent. Yes, if I had known today would be so hot, I would have brought my bathing suit. Good, good, good. Good. Um, and let's see. Paolo, do you have a way to finish number 1 here?
If I had known it was your birthday, I would have embraced you earlier.
Ah, very nice, very nice. I would have embraced you earlier, or I would have given you a hug earlier. Very
Yes.
nice, I like that. And Adrian, do you have a way to finish number 1?
If I had known it was your birthday, uh, I would have helped you with your party.
Ah, very nice, very kind of you. I would have helped you with your party. Excellent. And I think I want to skip number 2 just for time. So let's go on to 3. Sergio has already given us a great example. He said, if I had known it would be so hot today, I would have brought my bathing suit. Thayer, can you think of another way to fill in the blank?
And the
And you
same
want to
one.
use the past perfect in the blank here.
If I had known it was your. I'm sorry. If I had number 3, teacher.
Yes.
Okay. If I had known, um, my son. No idea. I'm sorry.
How about swimming pool? If I had known.
There is okay, maybe. I don't know.
Try it out. If I had known there was a swimming pool, I would have brought my bathing suit.
Okay. If I had known there is a swimming pool, I would have brought my bathing suit. I
Good.
don't know.
Good. This one is kind of tough because there aren't that many situations that you
I'm
would bring
thinking.
a bathing suit.
Okay. Okay. I have a question about bathing.
Yes.
Bathing or bathing? TH and voice or
Bathing.
voice?
Let me see. Bathing. It's voiced in
Okay.
this. Yep. So, yeah, yeah. And we could just replace it with swimming suit, bathing suit or swimming suit. To bathe, the verb to bathe used to mean to swim a long
Okay.
time ago. Now it just means to wash yourself, usually.
So, for instance, if I said I bathed yesterday, does that mean I take a shower yesterday?
Yes, yes. Nowadays it would mean that. Back in the early days of swimming, at least I know it used to be called bathing. That it could mean going swimming. You could say I went bathing, and it
Okay.
would mean swimming. But now you would never say that to mean swimming.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, great question. Or yeah, good question. I want to skip this for the rest of it because the other ones I think are more valuable. There are more situations that they can apply to. So why don't we move on to number 4? Everyone take a moment to think of a way to answer that. If you hadn't been late, you wouldn't have.
Geometry, like
You wouldn't have what?
gem. I mean gem. GAM.
Mm-hmm.
No.
JAM?
Jam. No. It is when you have a crowded in between cars or something like that, and
Oh,
you
a
have.
traffic jam. Yep, a
Yeah,
traffic
traffic jam.
jam.
Yeah.
Good. Um, Yeah, well, I don't think that one will work here. The traffic jam may have caused you to be late, but this conditional is saying if you hadn't been late, but you were, so we should fill it with the blank of something something that wouldn't have happened to you if you had been on time. Or let me see, it gets confusing in a logical way because it's talking about what didn't happen in the past. And when we have the not here plus that it didn't happen, we get kind of a double negative situation. Almost.
But in this case, he already late, I think.
Yes, absolutely. So you could use traffic jam, like if there hadn't been a traffic jam, you wouldn't have been late. So you could switch the two. Okay. But this is the main clause. So traffic jam won't really fit in the main clause there. It would fit in a conditional, but our conditional clause is filled with the lateness. I don't know if that makes any sense the way I'm explaining it, but does anyone else have a way we can fill this in? Is there another?
If you hadn't been late, you wouldn't have to lost our connection.
Ah, excellent, excellent.
Lost, okay.
Yep, good. If you hadn't been late, you wouldn't have lost the connection.
Yeah.
Good.
If you hadn't been late, you wouldn't have waited out of class.
Ah, so if you hadn't been late, you wouldn't have waited outside the class. Good. Yes, maybe the professor locked the door and you couldn't get in because you were late.
So what about this, teacher?
Yes.
If you hadn't been late, you wouldn't have missed the party.
Perfect. Okay. Yep, perfect. If you hadn't been late, you wouldn't have missed the party, but you were late and the party is over and you missed it. Very good. Shadow, do you have a answer for this one?
Yeah, I was going to say you wouldn't have missed the bus. So.
Very good. Yeah. Yep, that would fit perfectly. If you hadn't been late, you wouldn't have missed the bus. Good. And how about Sergio? Do you have one to fill in the blank?
Okay, that's it. If you hadn't been late, you wouldn't have lost the opportunity.
Very good. If you hadn't been late, you wouldn't have lost the opportunity. But you were late, so someone else got the opportunity to do something. Next time. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, I'd like to skip the last two because I think I can just ask you a question that that you'll have to use the third conditional to answer. So the question, I want everyone to think of a situation in the past where maybe you didn't like the outcome, and think of how that situation could have been different. So this could be something small or something big. I'll give an example. Let's see.
In chat box?
Yeah, you can type it. You can type it or
say it.
Or say it. I was thinking more say it for conversational purpose.
One.
Wonderful.
Okay. If I had known what will be happen in the future, I would have to change a lot of things in my life.
Good, Yeah, that's good. If I had known what the future would be, I would have changed many things. Very good. Good. Um, and maybe that's a good way for me to ask the question too. Think of a time when you were younger and you didn't know something, and think how you would have done something differently if you knew then what you know now.
Okay.
Does anyone else have a situation they could tell us about?
If I had studied English earlier, I would have known fluently. I have speak fluently now.
I yeah, you could say if I had studied English earlier, I would have I would already be fluent now. Good. That one's a little bit tricky because it comes into the present tense.
Okay, okay.
But it's good. It fits. It's good. Which makes me think of an example. So I'm living in the Czech Republic right now, and I do not speak Czech very well. I have very little Czech, even though I have been here for 3 months. So I could say, if I would have studied Czech before I moved, I would speak more now. That's tricky again because it's into the present.
Yeah.
But it works.
Okay, teacher, question.
Yes.
Where is located exactly Czech? I didn't hear about Czech before. I know the state country Czech.
Yes, it is
Could you
in.
type it, please, in chat
Oh,
box?
absolutely. And it's spelled with a Z in there. Oops. Sorry, hang on. The Czech Republic. It is in Central Europe. It borders, on one side, it's bordered by Germany, and Austria, and it's bordered by Slovakia and Poland
And
on
where's their
the
native
east.
language?
Their native language
Yeah.
is called Czech.
Oh, Czech. Okay.
Yeah, yes, which is strange because it sounds like the word Czech. I get many mix-ups when I'm speaking here.
I thought you say Czech like this.
Yes, they are pronounced exactly the same. I make the mistake in my classes to tell the students to check their work, and I always wonder what they think I'm saying. They probably think I'm talking about their country, possibly.
Okay.
Good.
I have a phrase.
Excellent. Let's hear it.
If I had known that the soccer was hard, I would have spent a lot of time in its practice.
Very nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I
perfect.
was
Nice.
younger, yeah.
Excellent. Good. You had the past perfect in your conditional clause, and then the present perfect in or the would have past participle construction. Very good. Very good. Anyone else? Another example?
Yes. If you had known you will live in Czech, I think you would like to learn Czech language before you go.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yes. If I had known I'd be moving to Czech Republic, I would have studied Czech more, and watched TV less.
And now you speak Czech, teacher, or you don't?
Very little. I'm trying to learn, but I don't have access to classes or a teacher. So I'm trying to teach myself and it's very difficult, and I don't have a lot of time to study at home. So, but I have 6 more months at least. I'm sure I will get better before I leave. Good question. Shadow or Sergio or Paolo, did you have a sentence for us?
Okay, I will try one. If I had had.
Yep. It sounds strange, but it's correct.
Yeah, more patient. I would have already fluent in English.
Very good. So if I had had more patience, I would already have fluency in English. One note, the had seems strange at first. We often will use contractions. So it's correct. We say, if I had, but you'll hear native speakers contract the first had. So we'll say, if I had, and you may not even hear it when we're speaking fluently. If I had more time, you'll just hear a little bit of a D. If you're listening very closely, you might not hear it at all.
I think I'm quite sure that this happened as well as and on this would have, right? Like wouldn't.
Yep, that happens. Yep, we say would have. So and that's can be difficult for any time that the perfect tenses are used. We tend to contract the auxiliary verb. So if I'd have known I was going to Czech Republic, I would have studied more. So you can kind of barely hear the auxiliary verbs. So it can take a lot of listening to even hear them. But in written English, you'll always see the contraction or see it written out completely. So,
yeah.
And with that, it is time for us to say goodbye. Are there any final comments or questions or anything else today?
Thanks, teacher, for this lesson.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience with a tough grammatical topic. It's hard for me to explain, so I hope it was helpful.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you.
great.
Hope you allowed.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good day or a good night,
Bye,
and I'll see you all
teacher.
soon. Bye.
Yeah.